Welcome back. So today we are going to weld up a Rotopax cover for a friend of the channel. I'll leave a link here for his preliminary design. And well, he fabbed all this stuff up. Bill's getting to be pretty good with the fab work. We can do a little bit of cleanup work and then weld this aluminum up for him so we can get it back on, and then let's get the stuff cleaned up. Now on aluminum, I like to just put a piece of Scotch-Brite on a sander, right? It does a really good job of just cleaning it up. Fairly coarse piece of Scotch-Brite, and you can just go through, clean it up real good for you weld it. I mean, you can see the difference. Helps get that oxide layer off. So I'm gonna finish getting this cleaned up and then kind of walk you through the welding. So you can see how much difference they are when they're all cleaned up. Did some chamfers, cleaned up some of these radiuses. But that piece of Scotch-Brite on a sander does a hell of a job, especially on aluminum, getting it cleaned up. So typically with aluminum, you get everything clean, get your wire brush the surfaces because you're trying to get that oxide layer off. And I wiped this down 3 times. You can see the gray. That's, well, you want to get all that oxide off. And then I got to go through and get some more filler rod out. And then what you do is you'll go through here and you'll wipe this down as well, right? Because you know, there's going to be oxide comes off with that as well. And oxide is your enemy with aluminum, because if you don't get that oxide layer broke, you'll think you're heating it up. The under layer will just fall out, and that little hard shell you got that'll take more temp will still be left. So clean everything, wire brush it, wipe it back off again. It's not steel. All right, and to weld this whole thing up, we're going to use some of our Neptune Tig, and it's 3/32 rod, and it's, you know, it's primarily made for repair work and stuff like that. But this stuff's very strong, and I'll leave a link in the bottom for this Neptune rod, and check out some of the other products that we work with Rockmount on. All right, so slowly getting it welded. It definitely is different welding at almost 200 amp. The little flex lock I'm using, I think it's not made for that kind of amperage. So a weld or two in, I'm only doing about a 2 or 3 inch weld somewhere in there. And she's smoking, not to mention your fingers. So definitely need to look into a water-cooled torch setup. That thing gets smoking hot. Like to do more of this type of work, and well, running almost 200 amp, it puts a lot of heat into the part. So let's finish her up. That's a lot of amperage for that little welder. So she's hot already. So that's a little too much heat, almost 170 back here. She's getting ready to melt down on me. All right, so that's welding up this bracket. Now this was a 1/4 inch aluminum that my buddy Bill kind of did some fabrication. And I gotta admit, this is pretty tough. I thought it was gonna be a cakewalk. You know, I shouldn't be welding 200 amp with this size flex lock. I think it's only made for 150, 180. Welding those 200 amp welds, a lot tougher than I thought. There's a few welds on here that, well, you know, sorry. But I'll leave a link here for, I think Bill's going to get this thing powder coated. Remember that little trick I showed you where you put the Scotch-Brite on the sander? And then I hope you like fabrication like this. And I'll leave a link to Bill's video when he gets it all put together. Anyway, I'll see you here on some of the welders we got on the channel. Hope you like the fabs. Thanks for subscribing. I'll see you there.